All right, welcome back to all of my fantastic viewers, my cavalry. Cavalry ain't coming. You're it. So don't wait for anybody. Take action. Work on your life now. Yeah. It's the Maturity Project. I'm your host, Chad Everett Brochures. So today's conversation is actually, so what's come to mind for me is how we as a society seem to really like to kind of pick what emotions we're going to favor and which emotions we're going to avoid or be ashamed of. So, like, if somebody gets angry, it's a pretty good chance there's going to be quite a few people out there that would get upset with themselves for getting angry. Jealous, the ugly sides of things. But have you ever thought that you have it for a reason? Here's something. I'm going to give you a little piece inside of our makeup when it comes to our physiology. There's a reason why we have taste buds. It's not just because it's to give you some sort of pleasure in having food or whatever it is that you're consuming. Although, it is for that, but it's not for that surely for the pleasure, purely for the pleasure. What it's actually there for is to let you know the nutrients that you're consuming, so your body actually understands on a much deeper level what nutrients are being replenished, so that it knows what it has available for itself, and to continue to trigger, the desire aspects of your nutrition to say, if your body's really in need for the nutrients that a peach has in it, you're going to crave peaches. And when you actually get a peach, if it's organic and fresh but ripe, you're going to have a very rewarding flavor. Because your body's going to say, hey, this has got a lot of nutrients in it, and this is the stuff that I'm in need of, so it tastes extra good. More so than whenever you're satiated with those nutrients, then you have one, even if you haven't had a peach in a long time. It could be, same standard situation. It's freshly picked, it's ripe, it's organic, so it's nutrient dense, or at least it's a higher probability of being nutrient dense. Just now at that point, it's more of what's in the soil and, pretty much, rain, sun exposure, stuff like that. But anyway, not to get too far into it, but if all things be the same, the peach doesn't taste quite as good. It still tastes good. It just doesn't taste like that pop, where you're like, wow, this is great. Sour, salty, savory. We have all of those flavor receptors for a reason. And it doesn't tell us that these things are there, that they've arrived. Same thing. If you're oversaturated with something, or you were in a situation that it might actually have negative effects on you, you might actually get the rejection side, the putrid, or the nausea, something like that may come with it. You just thought, oh God, I don't want this thing. So anyway, now with our emotions, we have them all for a reason. Emotions function a lot like coins, right? There's two sides to each one. And it depends on exactly what it is that you need, right? A lot of this stuff is our subconscious is telling us, hey, you need to get some attention over here. There's something that is unresolved here, or this is new, or whatever it is, your emotions, those things are active, whether you want them to or not. It takes a real act of discipline, and actually, if anything, it's probably just retarding your ability to function when you put too much discipline on emotions to the point that you actually don't feel much. Now, there is a philosophy, Stoicism, that teaches to, you reduce your emotions because you spend a lot of time in the introspection of emotions, and you realize that there is a consequence to expressing them to a degree. Now, there's always a result. You can say consequence, whatever it is that you want to say, but it's still something. people that are like, because we have, and again, this is not a video that I'm just putting out there because I want to bash optimism or, you know, put pessimism on a pedestal or anything, because I don't want to put anything on a pedestal that way. But we do have a lot of people that are like, no. You need to remove this. You need to get rid of that. You know, going around like as if there's some sort of surgeon to say you need to get this thing excised. If it keeps showing up, it's something you got to work on. Don't give away your lesson. If it keeps showing up, even if it's not directly associated with your goal, for your ability to connect that does not mean that it's not connected to your goals. It just doesn't make it obvious to you. Because if you're connected to your goals, it's connected to your goals. So if you feel that, you know what, you're having a real hard time with relationships, and you're like, I don't need to worry about this. I need to focus on my business. I need to focus on my work. If you deny that growth in the relationship category, it will affect you in your business. You could say, hey, you know what, I got rid of all that negative feeling. It's gone long enough. I've gone through the grievance cycles or whatever, and you know, now I'm at peace. It's all over with, but I don't want to get in a relationship. And then when you're there working, you're daydreaming. You see couples together and they seem happy, and it just, you know, it might actually get you to corral yourself into a place of numbness where you're like, I'm not even paying attention to that. I don't care about it, whatever. But that actually limits your ability to think, you know, because it puts you into a specific avenue of thinking. Now that might get you, you know, it might push you down that avenue further towards whatever your goals are, you know, work or whatever. But ultimately, it's going to continue to haunt you. You know, there's something in us. We have a biological clock, and it's not just, I guess you could say a biological clock is more directly for reproduction, but we have biological intimacy clocks, if you will. We want to have meaningful and deep relationships in our life, and you know, we've got to practice those things. You know, and it's not often that you get somebody who's willing to practice it with you. You got to practice this stuff. You know, you've got to try it. It is just like anything else, and I'm not telling you anything you don't know, I'm sure, but it's, you know, you can sit there and say, you know what, I don't need this, and then, you know, it's not that big of a deal, and whatever, you deny it, and then you know, you find yourself in trouble. You know, you find yourself in a deficit, and it just haunts you. And the other side of it is yeah, I know all this stuff, Jed. I'm going to deal with this. So, but then again, why the hell aren't we? Well, we got a lot going on in this life, and having a fulfilling life is actually incredibly dynamic. How often have you actually, you know, here's something that's interesting to think about is, you think about, before you do something, let's say, you know, you've never worked at a car, in a car lot before, but you bought a car. Never been a salesperson in a car lot. But you bought a car. You may have bought a couple. I spent a couple of months working on a car lot. It was Audi, and I liked the cars. I mean, you know, they're definitely incredibly well engineered, but that's not the point of this. The point of this is, I didn't know what was going on whenever the salesperson got up and went to talk to the sales manager. I had an idea, but I was never in the room. I had no idea what it was like between my salesperson and the finance manager. I knew what it was like to sit on the other side and wondering what my interest rates are going to be based off of my known credit score. You know, all that stuff from being on the consumer side, but I didn't know what it was like on the other side, actually doing it. The going to get the car, to get it detailed, get it gassed up, you know, all of the other things to make the experience more desirable, so the person's likely to come back. way that dealership that I worked at, how they worked as far as how they manage people, stuff like that. Also, I've always seen the hustle and bustle when I go in to buy a car, but I didn't realize what was on the other side, really, what the hustle and bustle was, and what the other relationships there might be like. Test driving cars, all the rest of that stuff. I knew what it was like to be the guy test driving the car, but actually getting out there and getting on the road and doing it, I didn't know what that was like. So I did it. And like, oh, okay, some of this stuff makes perfect sense, logical connections. So, why wouldn't I understand this immediately? And then other things like, oh, wow, okay. You had a concept of what it was like, but then you get the reality of it, and you're like, son of a bitch. Huh. That's what it is. Got it. Well, that's emotions when you let them be dynamic. A lot of them actually have different layers to them. They have deeper layers, a little bit further in. What's it like? I know what it's like to feel jealousy, whenever you see, especially in your adolescence, and you see the girl of your interest, like, well, for me, anyway, the girl of my interest, and she seemed like she's having a conversation with another guy, and, he was, immediately, I'm like, oh, damn it, he's not a bad-looking guy, he's in pretty decent shape, whatever, and she seems like she's really into the conversation, and I get hit with, damn it, she's really into it, I'm not good enough, and then that jealousy piece kicks in, and you're like, mother, damn it, there's other things too, it's like, what's it like to go through different, all these different emotions. But you see, what I recognize is that we keep creating more and more reasons to have failure to launch, because we have a society now that encourages people to stay away from the hardships of life, to stay away from the things that aren't overly fun, or the things that kind of they suck. They're unpleasant to go through. It's a fascinating thing when you really start breaking it apart, because we have these other emotions, and if you start hiding from them, or telling it doesn't have a right to exist within you, what do you think that does to you? You're not aware of it right now when you're getting counsel from other people that are living in kind of an emotional, it's like an emotional delusion. Right? It's like you can control all this stuff. It's fascinating because it keeps going back to this concept of us trying to play God. We can control this, mind over matter. You can create anything. I mean, it all has validity to differing degrees, but that's an interesting thing. We're all just trying to play God in our own way. Now, for the religious, they may not feel that way. Some of them may truly be humble. But as a society, no. We've got some things to go through. And it's fascinating to me because if you think about it, people like, oh, they have high emotional intelligence. How dynamic is that emotional intelligence? How versatile is it? For a lot of people, man, they're like, no, man, that's I can only be happy. It's the only feeling, it's the only emotion I'm going to allow myself to have. And like, well, that's going to be a tough life, So, just give value to what you got. Pay attention. Carl Jung talks about the shadow and doing shadow work and things like that. So, I'm a big advocate for being a witness of yourself when you're going through things. Let what's honest and real show up, but also observe you. Don't get so caught up in it that you can't be present to who or how you're being. I got as far as, like, if I was gonna, yell at somebody and treat them like an asshole or something like that, I actually went through with it, and I'm like, wow, part of it was a huge cathartic release. And then other parts of it was like, Chad, that is not you, man. And did that person truly deserve that? They may have deserved something. They caused it, they caused me to put my attention on them enough to do that. But, if they cut me off in traffic, they didn't deserve everything else. It's just they cut me off in traffic. They probably didn't see me, But it gave so much insight. And I'm like, damn it, man, there's a lot to grow here. So, anyway, this is us, man. This is the maturity project. This is what we're after. This is what we're out for. It is to make you as incredibly dynamic as possible. It is to help you mature in all 8 areas of maturity. It's not easy, man. I am not perfection. I will never, go around and tell people that I am perfection. Now, perfect is a different thing, and I talk about that, and, I'm still trying that one on in life. To give you the just quick of that is, perfect is what you are because you're the accumulation of every single decision you've ever made, plus your genetic positioning, the environment that you're in, and the timeline that you're alive. Where you are in the cosmos, this place in the universe. It's perfect because that's where you are. But you're not perfection. Because perfection is an infection. It is something intended to get you to do what you're not currently doing for somebody else for their behalf. Somebody's convincing you that you should be doing something more. Marketing is a big advocate for the concepts of perfection. Now, they don't tell you perfection. They show you whatever you would conceive as perfection. They got a cologne commercial, and you have ripped, chiseled bodies, men and women. Got the cologne on the guy, and then you see like this incredibly very well sculpted female body, or 2 or 3 of them or whatever, and you're like, wow, that cologne must be great. Because look at it, man, it brings in the ire of every guy's fantasies, right? Or, all the straight guys' fantasies, Yeah, it's fascinating. Because that's actually trying to give you an idea of something that you're not going to achieve. At least what you just witnessed, you're not going to do a carbon copy of that thing. You might be able to get to a situation where you have, a couple of women on you at the same time, and you're that guy, and you're in really good shape. It might happen, but I got to tell you, there's other things you're not aware of. Like, you might have performance anxiety. Yeah, you get to be the best chill friend. You girls have fun. I'm just going to sit here because I can't do anything. You don't know what's going to happen on the other side of that concept, or whatever it is you think you can do, or whatever you think it's going to be like. So you sit there and you watch the commercial, and you're like, I got to get that cologne. So, all right. I don't want to make this a long episode. It's kind of a little bit later than usual, but I still wanted to do it. So, this is a commitment I have. Look, I'm not perfection. I'm sharing the experiences that I've had in life. I'm dedicated to this. This is my life's work. I am out with the deepest desire to try to make a difference as much as I can by inspiring people to do something for themselves, to let them know that you didn't paint yourself into a corner. You didn't realize you backed yourself into a lot of rooms, and there's all kinds of places to go from there. You just don't realize it yet. So, yeah, that's it. You really can have pretty much anything that you can think of. You just have to realize where you're in your own way. I really enjoy helping people reduce the distractions that keep them from being incredibly present and capable of achieving their goals. And I would go as far as to venture to say that there could actually be an intention behind it all to get people to just stay distracted. You need to keep up with this credit card issues, the debt. You need to make sure you got the newest, neatest, and coolest stuff. I'm not saying necessarily like in Insiders or like Chad, we don't want you to be successful in life. We want you to continue to foster, our livelihood by, buying our stuff or doing what we want you to do. But for profit, out to make money, it's understandable. I live inside of that capitalist world, and I do appreciate it a great deal. Meritocracy, baby. I'm the breakdown of modern relationships. You don't need to put up with that person's stuff, and then next thing you know, you've got how many different dating apps out there. You can window shop as much as you like. You can make it a favorite pastime when you're on the toilet. It's like, oh, this person gets a right swipe or a left swipe or whatever. Catch yourself talking to yourself about whoever it is that's in front of you. Like, girl, nah. Or, whoo. all while you're on the throne. We have really taken this interesting leap where we have outpaced our abilities to keep up with technology. And now it's just wreaking havoc on us. So we're not mature enough for this stuff. And it's showing up all over the place in our life. So the Maturity Project is to help us fill in those gaps that really bog us down. So, all right. That's it for today. This is Maturity Project. I'm your host, Chad Everbroshiers. Please share this video with the person in your life you want to break the ice with, somebody that you want to make a difference with. You really want to make some change. Share the video with them. Calvary ain't coming because you're it. If it's coming, it's because you're the one that's on the course, man. You're the one that's in action. You're after it. Let's go. So like the video, help with the algorithm, and comment. Talk to your community. Let's hear from you. All right, and subscribe if you haven't already. Let's move this thing up. I really had ambitions to get to 100. By the time my birthday, which is not 2 days from now, Saturday, but next Saturday. It's 12 away. See if we can do it. All right. Till next time, guys, gals. The path to hell is paved with good intentions, but for you watching this, you have no intention of creating that. We'll just make a path to heaven. How about that? All right. Catch you on the next one. And until next time, let's get to it.